Hello everyone, it's Mark again. I've just been looking through the last video journal that me and Justin did just before he went off home to his lovely wife and family, and I realised that we're talking a lot about what we've been doing today, but I'm not really telling you things that I think you probably want to hear. And I was just thinking about one of the jobs that I did today with Justin, and it was a perfect example of how we differ. And I thought I'd share that with you because that's what this is all about. It's not just about me and Justin having a good laugh, but it's about how I would have done things differently if that job had happened in the UK. So I thought I'd just share it with you. So I've quickly jumped back on. Hey, it's 11:30 at night, so excuse me if it's a bit jumbled, but I think it's worthwhile sharing. So we told you about how we had a cable car accident at the end of the day, and we had a lovely gentleman, Patrick, who agreed to be filmed and shared with you all, so I can use his name and I can tell you all about the job. What it was, as Justin explained, it was a little cable car shunt which released some sort of big lever. I'm not really up on mechanical things with cable cars, and that came up and hit him in the shoulder, so he had an impact injury to his shoulder. When we got there, the fire engine was there and a couple of other agencies, the tram agencies and everything. And Justin quickly assessed the patient, and he had a little bit of pain in his shoulder, but he was able to move his shoulder through almost a full range of movement. He was tender on palpation to his shoulder, but he could move himself around. He was scoring his pain, if I can remember, he was scoring his pain for about a 6 or a 7. However, he was freely moving his arm, he was shuffling himself around on the stretcher, and he was using his arms to push himself up. Obviously, Justin had to take him up to hospital. He needed to go to hospital to get checked out, that was never in any doubt. But the difference that we would have done if it was over in the UK next week and I was on the car, is he would have had one of 3 options. The first one I would have offered him, I would have told him that he needed to go to hospital and get checked out. But the first option would have been for his supervisor or one of his work colleagues or someone to actually take him up in the car. So he still gets seen, but it releases me to be back in service and assist anyone else. The second option would have been for him to get a taxi. If there's no one to run him up, is there any way you could just jump in a taxi or possibly jump on a bus and go and get yourself checked out? He had full range of movement. There's an argument about pain score and about the pain is always what the patient states it is and where it states it is. But if you tell me you've got a pain score of 7 or 8, but you're able to move your arm everywhere, you're able to lift your arm and put it down, and it just makes you sort of go, ooh, that hurts a little bit, then I still think it's appropriate for someone to make their own way to hospital with that. I certainly would if it was me. The final option would have been for him just to jump in the back of my rapid response car and I would take him up to the hospital in there. For this type of job there wouldn't have been an ambulance automatically responding behind me, but if there was, they would have been stood down straight away because I would have been able to deal with it in the car. And that would have freed up further resources in my own area for more urgent and appropriate jobs. So a little bit different to what they can do here at the moment. They don't have that ability to tell people to make their own way up to hospital, and I think Justin was quite interested to hear that. I don't know if he's getting sick yet of me saying, well, we would have done it differently or we wouldn't have taken him to hospital. I think he's quite used to me saying that now. But that's the reason why we're doing this. We're discussing the differences, and I thought when I looked at the last video journal, I thought it was funny and it was worth doing to share what we're planning and basically what a good laugh we're having. But I think you also need to realise that we are actually discussing the differences in the services, and that was one thing that will come out in the film. We did some discussion about it afterwards. But either way, Patrick got the treatment he needed. He got up to hospital and he was seen. He was just put in the triage room in the waiting area to book himself in, and it would have most certainly been appropriate for him to go make his own way or go in the car. One thing Justin did say in the radio transmission to the hospital ER to tell them he was coming was he gave the full handover, but he did also say that this patient's suitable for triage. So I think that was his way of letting them know that there's not really a great deal wrong with him. But it was just the system and the American EMS system that didn't allow him to be able to say, make your own way there. Anyway, that's it. Just thought I'd share it with you. My Wi-Fi connection is a bit dodgy again, but I'll try and get this up tonight too so you can have a look at it. And we'll see what tomorrow brings on the fire engine. Okay, night everyone. Bye.